What's up? Welcome back. I'm gonna take this hair tie off my wrist. I don't know why. I think it's like as I get older, I'm like, why do I have hair ties on my wrist? But then I need a hair tie and I never have one, so I'm at home today, so I'm gonna just set it right next to me. I wanted to touch on what I was talking about before with the shade scale, because people don't like to watch like all the way through videos just to I don't know, find one piece of information. So I'm gonna put this at the beginning of this. I'm gonna need my pencil. So I'm gonna draw this out real quick so you guys can see it. This helps a lot when you're first starting in any medium, like except for sculpture, obviously. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10. Okay, so if you draw something that looks like this on any wood, you want to get something that's similar to the wood you're actually burning, but I don't have something right now that's similar to this. This is bamboo and it's very difficult to work with. Another thing to remember, bamboo is so difficult to work with. It's a really hard wood. It also has like this waxy seal on it. I sand down all of my stuff before. This is a back scratcher that I put butt scratcher in. But I sand down everything before I burn it. Even when I do that, bamboo seems to have this like sort of weird waxy finish to where you go to burn it and it like scrapes off residue, it gets all over your tips. It's very frustrating. Okay, so if you draw a scale like what I was just showing you to see if you can, you know, do your picture, if you don't want to waste your cutting board and whatnot, say you've only got one cutting board or wooden spoon to work with, get a piece of scrap wood. Now, I live in the Midwest and we do house renovating type stuff a lot, so we always have scrap wood. If you don't, go to Menards, construction businesses, anywhere that has wood enough to where they're gonna throw it away or have extras of, and just see if you can pick up some of their extra wood. That's gonna be the easiest way. I also do that with cardboard for when I'm making like hemp jewelry and stuff like that, like knotted jewelry. You can get cardboard from a lot of stores because, for example, I run a retail store. And let me tell you, we throw out so much cardboard. Like, we recycle it, but it's basically, you know, tons of cardboard that we don't keep. Okay, so if you're looking at my scale, do the bottom one. Again, I just talked about this in the last video, but I wanted to show you guys. So do the bottom one all the way black, and do the top one all the way light, and it should be 10 boxes wide, and practice your shade scale. So if this one's the darkest I can go and this is the lightest I can go, I want to work my way up. Now you can do shading, which is just, you know, continuous shading. You can do stippling, which is dots, like such. You would just continuously dot. And then there's, I don't remember what this is called, but scratching lines is another one. Cannot remember what it's called. Okay, so I actually haven't done a shade scale in a long time, probably since college. It's been a minute, guys. I was really good at shade scales, though. Okay. Again, bamboo, so hard to work with. It has these lines in it, so when you're shading, your lines get all like wonky, or your shading gets all wonky because your wood gets these weird lines in it. Now the goal of this scale would be to make sure you know how to get a full range of shading, because if your picture's too light, it's gonna look flat. If it's too dark, same thing, but it'll look like a giant blob of nothing. I mean, it'll look like a picture, but it'll just look really blobby. So here's my first two squares. I would probably go back through once I get, I'm not gonna do the full scale, but once I got done, I would go back through and adjust these, because when you're starting, you're like, oh, well, this seems dark enough, but it's usually not. because you have to go all 10 to get to the lightest color. So it's a lot less of a difference from box to box than you would think. Let's see, so my second box is probably only gonna be like, and I work darkest to lightest, because then if I'm like, shit, that's too dark, I'm on the bottom. So that's definitely too dark. My second square is way too dark. It looks like my 7th square. So you can always darken everything except for the darkest color. Obviously there's no way to darken that anymore. So I'm gonna do like 5 squares just so I can get you guys an example of what I'm talking about. Because it really is so much less difference between each box than you would imagine. Like, even when I'm starting out, like, I just drew that second, or I colored in that second box, and I'm like, that's definitely not dark enough. Once I get down the scale a little bit, I start to see that. And when you look at the scale at the end, it should look like even, you know? Like, it shouldn't look like one square jumps in shading, like, from super dark to super light. It should all be, like, evenly shaded and evenly spaced with your colors. Shading squares are amazing, though, because you get to practice and you can sort of figure out how good you are. So, with shading specifically, and you can work on it a little. So these are my first 5 boxes. I'm not going to do the other ones just because that's not what I'm trying to do today. But you can see how they're barely different, but you can tell it's getting lighter and lighter. And the structure just kind of helps a lot of people to see which, are they better at light, are they better at dark, stuff like that. All right, that's shading boxes, guys, and I'll be back.